I'm Niv, and this is a little movement sequence that you can do to warm up and awaken your hips, so it just helps with energizing the body and moving it toward pleasure. So lay down and just have your heels close to your body, about hip width apart, knees hip width apart, and just feel your body sinking into the floor. Let your attention move to the breath and just notice the inflow and the outflow. Relaxing your jaw, feeling your weight become heavy. And as you notice your breath, see if you can feel for the movement of your spine. You might notice some movement in the chest, in the ribs. And see if you can feel for a movement in the belly, so that you're feeling your whole torso expand with the breath. And so as you breathe, you may notice your spine, your chest start to lift, so the spine is lengthening. And then as you exhale, your spine softens back and relaxes the body to the floor. And so just noticing that for a few breaths. This expanding of the torso, the movement of the spine, relaxing of the jaw, and the heaviness of your body. And then let your attention wander down to your pelvis. And imagine you're breathing down to your pelvis. And you might feel a little bit of movement in the hips. Maybe a slight rocking or tilting of the pelvis as you breathe in. And a softening of the sacrum, the back of your pelvis to the floor as you breathe out. And imagine that your breath is massaging the pelvic floor muscles that sit and support the organs of your pelvis and abdomen. And then as you do that, just bring your hands onto the pointy bones of the hips. And notice as you breathe in, you might feel those pointy bones moving down, so accentuate that a little bit. And then as you exhale, just letting the hips rock back towards the ribs. And just breathing, noticing that movement. Just accentuating it. Just encouraging the spine and the pelvis to move. I'm doing that for 2 more rounds. And then releasing your hands and just allowing the pelvis to sit, just noticing what you notice in your body. And as you feel for your breath, just let your palms rest down on the floor. Notice the feet bring contact with the big toe, the balls of the feet, the outer edges, the heels. And then press slightly into the floor to feel the buttocks engage and gently tilt the pelvis again back, those pointy bones closer to the ribs. And then let the pelvis relax. And you do that again, so push into the floor with the feet to feel that slight bit of movement. Maybe the sacrum lifts away from the floor. And then rolling that spine all the way back down, pelvis softening to the ground. just doing that a couple of times with just a little bit more lift each time. Just so the pelvis comes off the floor and then rolls back down, keeping your legs engaged as you lift and as you lower. And if it feels good here, you might lift just that little bit higher. So feeling the backs of the legs engage, feeling that pressing down sensation into the ground. Just noticing the knees, they might be wobbling a little in or out. See if you can keep them in line with your toes. And again, just rocking up. And you might come all the way to the tips of the shoulder blades, the lower end of your shoulder blades. Just rolling up and down. Feeling into the movement of the spine, the awakening of the legs, and that rocking of your pelvis. And let's do that for 2 more rounds and see if you can connect that with your breath. Finding a flow and rhythm that works for your body. And then once your pelvis touches back down on the ground, just let your arms come out to the sides, out to a T, and let your knees just rock from one side to the other. Just gently moving at first without too much force or effort, but just feeling where the points of the sides of you start to feel tension, and then rock the other way. Just slowly warming. And notice what your breath is doing as your legs rock. Notice the sensation of the movement across from one butt cheek to the other, massaging across your sacrum. And you might even notice as the knees float to one side, a slight pull on the opposite shoulder. And then when you're ready, let the legs come all the way back to center. And as they come back to center, hug the knees in towards the belly and just let the knees circle. Again, a sort of little massage of that lower spine, sacrum, into the mat. And then let yourself go the other direction. And then hug your right knee into your chest, let the left leg extend. And as it does, just let that knee come in and out to the side. Just drawing it in and out of the body. Almost like it's following the arc of the hip joint. And if you're feeling any tension at any point, just move a little bit away from the tension, not accentuating the tension, but rather moving into it with gentleness and ease. And then hugging that knee into the body, reaching the opposite arm across, drawing it across now, knee to the opposite side, and you can float that arm out in the opposite direction. And then notice it's the side of your body, notice the ribs, and see if you can expand some breath into that space. You might be feeling a sensation through your right shoulder, your right pec. And wherever you're noticing sensation, just breathe into it. And then slowly rotating back to center. As you rotate back to center, grab a hold of the back of the leg a moment and just let the knee bend and extend a couple of times. Doesn't have to go into that straight position, but just allowing a little bit of movement. And then slowly allowing that leg to come down towards the ground, hugging the other leg into the body, just taking a moment just to notice the two sides of the body, noticing any difference. And then slowly bringing that left knee in towards your chest, sliding that right leg away. And again, just following the arc of the hip, rolling in, rolling out. Keeping your jaw relaxed, being aware of breath. Notice that right leg. You might like to engage the foot a little in a flex position just to keep that leg active. And when you're ready, hugging that knee in towards the body, switching the hands, reaching the left arm away, rotating to the right, twisting the spine. Moving with a sense of ease into the pose. So noticing where there's that pull or tension, and expanding into those spaces with breath. Feeling how the exhale can soften and allow your body to lengthen or rotate a little more. 2 more breaths. And when you're ready, drawing that knee all the way back to center. Hug the other leg in towards the body. Again, a little bit of circling of the knees. A couple of things you can do here. You can roll to your side and help your body up, or you can go for a little bit of a rock and bring your body all the way up into a seated position. I'm going to come over onto hands and knees. So if you've got any tension in your wrists, you're welcome to shift your hands a little further forward to take that tension out. But if it feels useful and comfortable, then allow your shoulders to stack over the tops of your hands, hips over the tops of the knees. And thinking of that same movement that we were looking at before in terms of the spinal movement with the breath, we're going to play with that here. So feeling for your sit bones, so they're the pointy bones that are at the base of your pelvis. Slowly start to reach the sit bones away. Feel a little stretch in the belly. Let the chest move forward and gently lift your gaze. On your exhale, you can let your sit bones draw down to the ground. Feel the belly draw to spine, drawing the chin in towards the throat. So the breath in, it leads with the tail, allowing that movement to move up with the spine, and the head moves last. And then exhale, feeling that drawing in and expanding into the back body. As you do this, see if you can synchronize the breath, allowing it to guide your movement. You might notice as you breathe in that the hands drag towards your body, and then as you exhale, let your hands push away. 3 more rounds. And again, if you're noticing any excess tension or pain, you want to move away from it, so then you do this less. So don't accentuate that curve as much. Then coming all that way back to center. And as you come back to center, I'm going to think a little bit about the pelvis also moving in a side-to-side position. So I'm going to draw your your left hip towards your left shoulder, and then shifting across in the other direction, right hip to right shoulder. So noticing that shortening of space of one side to a length on the other. Feeling that shift of weight across the palms. And then once you've got that motion, come back to center. I'm going to use those 4 points. So the pelvis, sit bones moving down and up, and the sit bones moving from side to side. So we'll start by lifting the sit bones up, circle across to the side, move down, move to the opposite side and up. And then you can allow your whole spine to move with that motion. And I have heard this being called disco cat, and then you're going to be moving in the other direction. Allowing your body, your hips, your spine, your shoulders all to move together. Moving at a pace that feels comfy for your body, and again, all this connected to your breath. And then coming all the way to center. You're going to sit back towards the heels. Now, if this is not comfy for you, there's a couple of things you can do. So you can have the hips a little bit higher, let your head rest down on the block. You could sit towards a block. You can also use cushions just to help the body sink towards the floor. And if you've got a second block, you can let your head rest. You can also take the knees just that little bit wider to give a bit more space for the abdomen or chest. And just taking a few deep breaths, just allowing your body to soften towards the ground. And then allowing the palms to come back towards the floor, letting the chest rise. Just placing the blocks out of the way. Shifting that weight forward. Let your toes tuck underneath, and as the toes tuck underneath, shift the weight forward and back a little. And then slowly walk the hands towards your body, walking the hands all the way, and just let your body drape forward. So you're going to have those knees nice and soft. Let your hands grab a hold of the shoulders, a little bit of weight shifting one side to the other. And the more that you bend your knees, the more that you can find length. So the more I straighten, the more I notice my body has no support, and I probably feel a lot more sensation down the backs of the legs. But bending the knees gives your torso the support so that the spine can lengthen without really tensioning and causing strain through the backs of the legs. See if your head can hang heavy. Maybe a few yeses and nos. Open the mouth, release the jaw. And then let the arms release, bend your knees even more, and let the spine just slowly roll all the way up until you arrive at standing. So once you come to standing, we're going to bring those hands to the hips again. We're going to play a little bit with moving those hips in very similar motions to what we just did before. So moving those sit bones forward towards the front of your mat, and then letting the sit bones move back. So playing with that movement forward and moving back. Once that feels really comfy, then you can allow your hips to move from one side to the other. And again, we're going to take that into a circular shape. So let the sit bones move forward, take it to the side, moving back, to the side, forward, side, back, side, forward. Allowing your knees to feel nice and soft, and then circle in the other direction. Come all the way back to center. And as you come back to center, thinking now of drawing a figure of 8. So imagine your sit bones have 2 pencils on them, and they're drawing a figure of 8 as they move. So doing that again with nice soft knees, feet a little bit apart, and then circling one side and then the other. So accentuating the movement of the hip out towards the side. Noticing your breathing. You can play with your arms moving, relaxing your shoulders. You can bend your knees as much as little as you like. And then let your body come all that way back to center. Just noticing your breath, noticing that sensation of the body, noticing the length in your spine. So we're going to do a little bit of a spinal movement sequence, and this also helps us to bring, as we notice, that spine connection to the pelvis, some release through the pelvis. So as your knees bend, you're going to start by bringing the backs of the hands together, the spine curls here, and then drawing in up through the center of the body, keeping knees soft, reaching the arms to the sky. As your palms come together, draw the hands down towards the face. Turn the palms to the face, backs of the hands together, fingers towards the body, curling and rounding. And you can imagine that you've got plates on your hands here. And then slowly rotating those plates, opening up your chest, palms go wide. Bring the backs of the hands together. And again, soft knees curling up through the spine. Feel the breath move through the body. Reach the arms to the sky. And then bend your right elbow and draw it down towards your side. Bend your left elbow and reach the arms away. Side bending, and then sweep that hand back around. Backs of the hands come together. Draw up through the center, drawing up to the sky. This time bending your left elbow, draw it down to the side, bend your right, and then reach the arms away. Circle that hand down, bring the arms through. Imagine that you have a beach ball in your arms, or you're holding your arms in ballet position. Breath in. And you're going to move to your right, so soften the knees more, twist the spine, reach the arms away from your body. Sweep the back hand around, come back to center, breath in, beach ball in the arms, and then rotate in the other direction. Floating those arms away, sweeping the back hand around, floating back to center. Just noticing what you're noticing in your body. Keeping those knees nice and soft. Let's do another round. So we're going to bring the backs of the hands together, drawing up through the center to the sky, lengthening the arms. Palms come together. Turn the palms to the face, backs of the hands together, fingers to the body, rotating the arms away, curling the spine. Rotate those palms other direction. Plates in your hands. Open the chest. Bring the backs of the hands together. Breathing in, lifting up to the sky. You're going to bend your right elbow and bring it to your side. Bend your left. Sweep the arms away from the body. Circle the hand around. Bring the backs of the hands together. Draw it up through the center to the sky. Bending your left elbow. Bend your right. Float the arms away. Circling the hand around. Beach ball in the arms. Breath in. Rotating to your right side. Float the arms away from the body. Circle the hand back around. Breathing in and other direction. Keep those knees nicely bent. Reach the arms away. Sweep that arm around like you're giving yourself a hug, and float your arms all the way back to your sides. Just noticing what you're sensing in your body. Feeling that sense of connection to breath, the feet on the ground, a little wriggle of the fingertips, softness in the knees. So coming back down towards the ground, many ways we can do that. So drawing the head in towards the body, rolling down through the spine. Similar again, those knees nice and soft. Bring your hands to the floor, and then take your right hand, bring it into center. You're going to turn to the left and swivel your way down towards the ground. To sit in a cross-legged position might be a little more challenging for some of us. So you can use these blocks to rest underneath the knees, and you can really use them at any height you like, just to give you a little support. You can also sit on a block or a cushion or anything that provides a little bit more height, so that the knees move a little further down towards the ground and the hips sit a bit higher. So play around with what works for you. And you can shuffle the feet closer to the knees. That's kind of more traditional in yoga for Sukhasana. But if that doesn't feel good, just bring the feet a little closer. Again, having that knee support. And then placing your hands and resting them on the knees. And allowing your spine to move from one side to the other. So I like to press my feet down into the floor, because as that weight comes forward, I'm just providing a sense of resistance. And it might be just a little bit of movement up here. It might not be going so far down, but as you breathe, as you move, allow for a whole movement through the shoulders, the elbows. You're going to feel a little bit of movement through the wrists, pressing down through the feet, and you might be feeling a sensation of stretch through the back body. Go the other way. So feeling a sense of stretch through the buttocks, lower spine. And then coming all that way up, and you're going to switch your legs over and do it the other way. often sit cross-legged in one direction and our hips get used to that one direction, and it might cause a slight imbalance in the hips, so that just helps that shift. Moving in the other direction when you're ready. And then coming all that way up to center. Once you've done that, unravel your legs. And as you unravel your legs, take a moment to lay back down. You might even place blocks under your knees if you're wanting a little bit more support. You can also do that with legs bend, so knees up towards the sky if that feels more suitable for lower back and pelvis. And then just take a moment to let your body sink into the floor and just noticing again those sensations of connection. The connection of the back body, noticing that space of the hips. And again now just explore that breath as it moves through the chest, as it moves into the belly. As it moves all the way down to the pelvic floor. And noticing the sensations you're experiencing. Is it different? Is it the same to when we first started? See if you can bring a lot of attention to the jaw now, and any tension that you're holding here. And see if you can soften the lips, as this jaw tension can connect also to our pelvic tension. When you're ready, just take a nice big breath, reach your arms overhead, stretching out your toes, wriggle your fingers, and you can hug your knees in towards your belly. And just let yourself rock a little bit side to side, again feeling the pelvis, the fleshy parts of your buttock touch the ground. And then as you come back to center, rolling to your side, and then slowly making your way back up. And so that's just a little sequence to waken up your hips and to ignite a bit more pleasure in that part of your body.